Just a couple of remarks here before we get going. Adversity is not a stranger to any workplace. We face shifting markets, unexpected obstacles, tight deadlines, reorganizations, and moments that test our confidence. But adversity, as difficult as it can be, has an extraordinary ability to reveal strength we didn't know we had. It sharpens focus, builds character, and reminds us that progress is not born from comfort, it comes from courage. Within our own company, we are fortunate to be surrounded by people who embody that courage every single day. We are a Canadian story of over 25 nationalities represented here. I don't know the exact count. The last exact number was 26. The truth is, adversity will continue to show up in different forms. That's part of life and part of business. But what defines us, what truly defines us, is how we respond, and that's part of what we're doing here today. So I'm the MC for today's event. We have 4 speakers with us this afternoon. The Honourable Gregor Robertson, Minister of Housing and Infrastructure and Minister responsible for Pacific Economic Development Canada. The Honourable Jill McKnight, Minister of Veterans Affairs, Associate Minister of National Defence and Member of Parliament for Delta, and Parm Bains, Member of Parliament for Richmond East and Steveston, and Keith, who is the Sales and Marketing Manager, will be also having some words here at Nichols Cabinets, and there's Keith back there. Following the speaking portion of the event, there will be time for media questions. If you have any questions for the Minister, please notify Rhea. Can you put your hand where? There you go. Who's standing right over there? So I just want to introduce Minister Robertson and welcome him to the podium.
All right, thank you, Dieter, and to your family and the whole team here at Nichols Cabinets for hosting us today. This is an important announcement for BC businesses, starting with this one here in Richmond. I'm glad to be joined by my colleagues here who represent Richmond, Steveston, and Delta, adjacent to us here. And great to be here with a whole bunch of the companies who are part of the work we're doing with PacificCan and support that we are providing to invest in BC businesses and entrepreneurs. From advanced manufacturing to clean tech to forestry, agri-food products, BC's businesses have always been leading, resilient, innovative, and able to adapt to change. That's the nature of business here on the West Coast. Alors que les perturbations du commerce mondial continuent de créer de l'incertitude, le Canada met l'accent sur ce qu'il peut contrôler, bâtir une économie canadienne plus forte et plus résiliente. Nous savons qu'il s'agit d'une période difficile pour les entreprises et les collectivités. Les coûts évoluent, les marchés se transforment, les chaînes d'approvisionnement sont mises à l'épreuve. And in moments like this, BC businesses need our support. And I know what this means. I've been on the other side of the table, generally not wearing a tie. As an entrepreneur for much of my life, I've helped build 2 companies here in BC from the ground up. And I remember very well what it's like to look at the books at the end of the month, know that every decision matters to the people on the team, every order, every shipment, every person you hire, every paycheck that gets signed. When businesses face surprises, uncertain increases in costs, that impact doesn't stay on the books and the balance sheet. It reaches the families who are sitting around the dinner table. It reaches the people who are wondering whether they will get enough hours in the next month. Reaches the business owners who've spent decades in many cases building something that they're proud of, and suddenly have to ask themselves whether they can afford to keep the doors open and keep people employed. We are in a really tough situation right now with our top trading partners to the south making big changes and putting us in a really difficult position. BC's under a lot of this pressure. A lot of our trade goes south into the US, and so the entire community is feeling this impact and concerned about what happens next. And that's why so many of us take this personally. Every business that we are supporting today as people who are working hard, taking risks, employing their neighbors, and building something that BC can be proud of. And we shouldn't be facing this uncertainty alone. So our job as Government of Canada, which is elected by all of us here, our job is to stand with everyone on the front lines, working in BC, running businesses in BC, give them the support that they need to get through these challenging times and make sure we're able to grow and to compete and succeed. And that's why the Government of Canada is stepping up to the plate with programs like the Regional Tariff Response Initiative, RTRI for short. This is a $3.5 billion initiative that helps businesses respond to the trade pressures that we now face. Today, we're announcing an investment of over $10 million of the RTRI funding in 12 businesses and organizations here in Metro Vancouver. And these investments will help businesses to pivot to new pathways to growth, to figure out how to get through the uncertainty and challenges, to improve productivity, expand into new markets, and build a more resilient supply chains to get those materials in. Most importantly, this is about protecting the jobs we have in the sectors that are most affected by these global trade disruptions. And that includes an investment here of $1 million to our host company here, Nickel Cabinets, which will help them to modernize their operations with new equipment, adopt new technology, and expand the showroom. In addition to this, I'll name a couple of the companies that are receiving investment. Apex Aluminum Extrusions, someone here from Apex? Right on. A Langley company that produces innovative custom aluminum products. That's receiving $847,000 to upgrade their facility. Zaber Technologies from Vancouver. We've got Zaber in the house, all right. Zaber is receiving $1 million to increase production of its precision parts needed in scientific research, health sciences, and industrial manufacturing. And Small Housing BC, I think there's Small Housing BC, welcome, which helps builders, manufacturers, and communities to adopt innovative approaches to home building. And they are receiving an investment of almost $2 million to help small and medium-sized home builders use prefabricated construction methods, bringing new technology to home building. These are all very different enterprises right now, but the story behind them is very connected. I know how important this support, and especially the investment from governments at a key time, can be to our success and to creating new jobs. Our focus is building strength here at home in Canada, investing in Canada, diversifying our trade wherever we can sell the good stuff that we make, the services that we have. We got to look beyond the US right now and find more trading partners and increase our trade. But it is about taking care of our people, our jobs, our businesses here at home first and foremost. That has always been our plan A since we got elected a year and a half ago. Our Prime Minister's been out front, very clear about that. We are here to invest in ourselves, give ourselves more than anyone else can take away. So thanks for being here and joining. Thanks to the team again for hosting us. Together, we can continue building BC and Canada strong. Let's take that to the next level. And with that, I'll pass it over to Minister Jill McKnight. Thank you. Merci.
Well, thank you, Minister Robertson, and it's great to be here today with you and MP Bains. It's always inspiring to spend time with people who get up every day to build things, to solve problems, and to keep our economy moving forward. that spirit is alive here in Richmond, in Delta, in my home riding, and in communities across British Columbia. But I also know that many people are worried. Workers are worried, business owners are worried, and families are worried about what comes next. The uncertainty created by unjustified tariffs has caused anxiety for people trying to protect their livelihoods and plan for the future. We hear those concerns and we understand them. As a former small business owner, I know what it feels like to carry that responsibility. I know what it means to worry about your employees, your customers, and the future of the business you've put everything into. And that's why I want to begin with a simple message. You're not alone. The Government of Canada is standing with you, and Canadians across this country are standing with you too. When Canadians face a challenge, we don't turn away from one another, we pull closer. Over the past several months, we've seen people choose Canadian products, support local businesses, and rally around Canadian workers. That solidarity matters because moments like this do not just test us, they remind us of who we are. When faced with uncertainty, Canadians do not stand still. We adapt, we innovate, we support one another, and we build. That's exactly what our government is doing today. We have a plan, and the plan has not changed. We are building strength at home while opening new markets and diversifying trade abroad. We are investing in our greatest strengths, our workers, our businesses, and our resources. And we're providing targeted support to the communities and sectors affected by tariffs and global trade disruptions. Because while we cannot control decisions made south of the border, we can control what we build here at home. As part of the more than $10 million in support just announced today through the Regional Tariff Response Initiative, Plascon Plastics in Delta is receiving $841,000. Their innovation, ingenuity, and entrepreneurial spirit exemplify the business community that has helped to make Delta and British Columbia such an economic force. Plascon is a company built on turning challenges into solutions, creating value where others see limitations, and seeing potential where others see waste. Long before tariffs dominated headlines, Plascon understood the importance of resilient manufacturing and strong domestic supply chains. Through innovation, sustainability, and onshoring production, the company has shown how Canadian businesses can compete and succeed in a changing world. With this investment, Plascon will modernize its operations, expand production capacity, increase its use of Canadian source materials, and strengthen domestic supply chains. That's exactly the kind of Canadian success story we want to see more of. Because while the challenges before us are real, so are our strengths. Our businesses are innovative, our workers are skilled, our resources are world-class, and our communities are resilient. When governments, businesses, and workers pull together in the same direction, there's no challenge we can't overcome. By focusing on what we can control, we're making investments that give Canadian businesses the tools they need to grow, compete, and succeed in an increasingly uncertain world. And as we do that, we'll be smart, we'll be strategic, and we'll fight for every one of these jobs. Together, we're not going to simply weather the storm, we're going to build through it, we're going to emerge stronger, more resilient, and better prepared for the opportunities that lie ahead. Thank you. I would now like to introduce It's my pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague, MP Bains for Richmond Steveston.
Thank you, Jill, and good afternoon, everyone. And to Dieter and the Nickel family, thank you very much for opening up your warehouse, shutting down production for a little while we do make this important investment. And to my dear friends and colleagues for being here, Minister McKnight and Minister Robertson, and to all of you that are behind us, the team, to support BC businesses and workers. Richmond's businesses have consistently demonstrated resilience, ingenuity, and entrepreneurial spirit. And with this Pacific Hand support, Marcon plans to increase productivity and competitiveness by installing advanced equipment, diversity product offerings, and expand growth by the U.S. Pacific Northwest and into new domestic markets. And right here in Nichols Cabinets, a Richmond-based manufacturer of custom kitchen cabinets for homes and businesses. This investment will support facility modernizations, advanced manufacturing equipment, software improvements, and expand the company's showroom, like the Minister mentioned. This will improve productivity, grow domestic sales, and create jobs while supporting the domestic housing sector. With support from this Pacific Hand announcement, these businesses will be better positioned to overcome the challenges control posed by the unfair and illegal tariffs. This will help continue to innovate and compete with confidence both here in Canada and the world stage. In Canada, we are already seeing returns on our investments and trade policy. Just today, we learned that Canada's economy grew by 3.3% just in the second quarter. It's the fastest quarterly expansion since 2023. So our plan, like my colleague Jill mentioned, Minister McKnight, it's working. Canadians from the Pacific to the Atlantic, supported by their federal government, are determined to resist the unjust attacks on our livelihood, and despite the efforts to control us, these investments will continue to support. And we, as a team, like Minister before me mentioned, together will continue to be committed to helping more businesses diversify, grow, and thrive. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share some words. Thank you to the team.
It's now my pleasure to introduce Keith Grubaugh, who is the Sales and Marketing Director here at Nichols Cabinets, and he's going to provide some remarks on behalf of our company.
Thanks, everybody. I have to be honest and say this is a slightly more formal audience than I'm used to addressing. But very excited for this day. So hello, and thank you for being here on this historic day for Nichols Cabinets. Our family and everyone on the Nichols team, thanks you for being here. We are grateful to share in the announcement that Nichols is being awarded this grant from the federal government. For all of you that have contributed in that, we recognize your contributions in developing programs such as this one, and are indebted to those who helped us throughout the extensive application process that took place over these past few months, especially the Pacific Hand team. We are also very thankful to our own leadership team, spearheaded by Ted Federauer, our General Manager. Their diligent work in providing strategies, timelines, and rationale for the incentives that we have underway paved the way for Nichols to be awarded these funds. And thank you to all of our employees for their deep commitment to Nichols. They are engaged, motivated, proud of their work, take ownership in their roles, and understand how they contribute to making this place what it is. The culture we have built at Nichols is by far and away our greatest asset, which I'm never shy to share with folks I interact with. With these additional funds and the other money that we've been saving for many years, we're ready to get to work on 3 very important initiatives. So now that I've said thank you to everybody, here's how we're going to spend that money. First of all, we will be investing in some new machinery and some upgrades that will help us broaden the scope of work and the product that we offer, resulting in new market opportunities. This will also help us improve the control of our product's costs, efficiencies, timeliness, and above all, quality. These acquisitions will allow us to cross-train our current staff and increase our labor force. Our second goal is to harness technology in ways that complement our craft, improve our efficiency and accuracy, and make Nichols easier to work with for our outside partners. We will remain committed to our old world style crafts while harnessing modern technology where it complements our core competencies. Lastly, we are excited to continue developing and expanding our Heirloom brand in the Lower Mainland. Nichols Heirloom, which started just over 2 years ago, is our retail division that services homeowners, designers, and developers by offering design, sales, and service for all that Nichols Cabinets has to offer. Our Heirloom division has grown quickly, so we are excited to continue developing that and look forward to adding more team members soon. Beyond these initiatives, Nichols has a robust list of other activities and projects to work on. With the help of this grant, we will continue pushing forward to ensure we are relevant to the design community, our dealer partners on both sides of the border, and our individual customers. As we enter another chapter of our nearly 5-decade story, our commitment, as always, is to our customers. Thank you again to everyone who helped make today happen.
Thank you, Keith. So today is about economics, but it's also about values. To be Canadian, as it has been said, is to be resilient. To be Canadian is to understand that our differences are our strength. These are values that make up the culture of Nichols Cabinets. And I want to personally thank Minister Robertson, Minister McKnight, and MP Bains and the federal government for providing essential support to our business and investing in our country during such a crucial time. Thank you. So this concludes the speaking portion of our event, and I think Ria will now facilitate questions. Thank you.
That's correct. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Riha. I will be moderating or facilitating today's media avail. Please remember to state your name and your outlet. We will do one question, one follow-up. As we do have a few Fed reps here with us today, if your question is directed to a specific member, please do identify that as well. And we will get started.
Thank you. Kristen Robinson with Global BC for Minister Robertson. And this is regarding the Broadway subway line construction impacted businesses not receiving any compensation from the BC government.
Okay.
Back in 2007, as an opposition NDP MLA, you demanded the BC Liberals provide compensation for Canada businesses impacted by Canada Line construction. And just checking, are you disappointed the party you were a part of is failing to help small business in such a critical time for our economy?
Yeah, thanks for your question. And first and foremost, we've seen with major infrastructure projects going back to the Canada Line when I was the MLA in Vancouver Fairview, having a lot of impact on local businesses. The construction disruption can have real consequences, and it certainly did back then. I know in my time at the city, we were very clear that major construction projects in the city of Vancouver needed to mitigate that impact on local businesses. So I'm not clear on exactly what's happened with the construction of the Broadway subway. I know the timelines have stretched. It's way behind schedule, so there's been more cumulative impact on the businesses. I know a lot of efforts were made to reduce that impact as the construction was taking place, and there was no big dig like we saw with the Canada Line, where it completely shut down the streets for many months. But I'll certainly look into what has happened in terms of the impacts on the ground and flag that with my our colleague, MP Noor Mohammed in Vancouver Granville, where most of the activity is taking place. We want to be sure small businesses can get through construction when it's disruptive like that, and also, as we're doing today, investing in businesses when there's global disruptions like we see with the trade war from the US. we have to be sure that as governments, we're doing whatever we can to help businesses get through the tough times and be successful.
Okay, and just to follow up, Minister, the federal government provides funding to BIAs in Toronto to support businesses that are affected by transit construction there by funding FedDev Ontario. Why can't the feds offer the same to BC businesses through Pacific Economic Development Canada, which is part of your announcement here today?
Yeah, well, good question. And to my knowledge, Pacific Can has not funded businesses through a disruption like a local construction project. I'll certainly look at the model that FedDev is using in Toronto as an example of what is taking place there. We want to make sure that we have a level playing field across the country. That's certainly something I'll look into with my colleagues at Pacific Can.
Anyone else?
Thank you. Hi, my name is William. I'm a reporter at Radio-Canada, the French CBC. I had a question for Nichols, for Keith or Didor, if it's okay. My question is just how the latest tariffs are affecting your company, if at all, the trade war, et cetera, and how this funding today might help with that.
Yeah, kind of figured that was coming my way. Yeah, so obviously the tariffs are impacting our business. Currently, we're about 70% of the work that we do goes south of the border. But our dealer partners, as we refer to them on the south side of the border, they've been great, very, very respectful of our ability to respond to the tariffs. We're contributing to the costs of those equally with our dealer partners, so experiencing a lot of goodwill with our dealers south of the border, so very encouraged by that. Of course, we all look forward to a post-tariff situation. But in the meantime, feeling good about the support that they've shown us and yeah, just reaffirming the value that this place has, whether tariffs are on or not.
Can you just tell me a bit more about what that means? So are you having to pay 50%, like is the client having to pay 50% more? And you're saying you're splitting that tariff between you and the buyer? Is that
yeah,
right?
so it depends on the cycle at which the project is in. So for new jobs, we anticipate that the end consumer will be absorbing more of that. But for projects that are in the interim stage of production, then we are splitting that tariff cost with the dealer partner on the south side of the border.
I know I'm only split up two questions, but just one last thing. So how is that? That must be enormous to have add 50 or 25% to your bottom line.
Yeah, it's definitely significant, but again, we see the value and look forward to the post-tariff times and look forward to maintaining those relationships throughout this, what we hope is a brief period, and look forward to better days when they come.
Anyone else?
Thanks so much. Jack Rabb, City News. Minister Robertson, we've been hearing from small and medium-sized businesses that they've been having difficulty accessing funding through some of the various streams, including through Pacific Can, with criteria including annual revenue and employee counts preventing them from being eligible, and also just dealing with the difficulty of navigating applications that is creating a large administrative burden. Are there any plans to make these funding streams more accessible for small and medium-sized businesses?
Yeah, good. Thanks for your question. There are definitely plans and trajectory to make it easier for businesses to get through the system and get the support that they need. Obviously, we're working with taxpayer dollars, so we are accountable. We have to make sure that we're doing due process to ensure that those dollars are being invested appropriately. So there is a certain amount of processing and paperwork that we got to go through for that, to have that taxpayer confidence that we're reviewing it. That said, we want to make sure we're not missing businesses that aren't making it through this tough time without that support. So we are looking at streamlining and making it easier through the process to enable businesses to get the support that they need, make sure people stay at work, and businesses, hopefully this is a short period of time, and in a company like Nichols Cabinets here, extraordinary quality. I think that they've built relationships for almost 5 decades throughout U.S. and Canada. Their work is exceptional. That will stand them in good stead. I think this is a very successful company that does great work, but these are unprecedented unjustified tariffs that are making it difficult for all businesses. So we just have to make sure we are doing due process, making it easy, and certainly open lines of communication and flexibility. We want to make sure through this tough time that we're getting the support where it needs to be.
Okay, thank you. And I have a follow-up actually from Minister McKnight. On Tuesday, Premier Eby questioned the logic behind purchasing F-35s from the U.S. Is canceling that procurement contract on the table? Is that something that's on Carney's mind?
So we take all of the procurement processes very seriously, and they are all reviewed, and when the time is right, the decision will be made.
One more, come on up.
Hi, I have a question for Minister Robertson. Oh, yes. My name is Sonal. I work with Canada's National Observer. Some of the businesses that I've spoken with say that loans in EI don't solve the fundamental problem that they've lost access to the U.S. market. What is the federal government doing to actually create new demand for Canadian products, including Canadian procurement within for projects that are publicly funded, rather than simply helping businesses take on debt while they wait?
Yeah, thank you for your question. Canada finally has a Buy Canadian policy at the federal government level, and we're working with the provinces to make sure they are implementing on public projects a Buy Canadian, or in case of the West Coast, Buy BC. Many of the provinces have some existing program to ensure that their major projects have investment into the province where it's taking place. We finally have a Buy Canadian policy across government. All the departments, all of the Crown corporations and agencies have criteria to make sure that we're maximizing Canadian materials and Canadian workers in all of our projects and expenses. So that's new. We haven't had this historically, but there's a silver lining to this trade war with the U.S. We are investing in ourselves, and we're now very focused on making sure that we are supporting Canadian businesses and workers and materials in all these major projects. In my department, with housing, with infrastructure and public transit, we are already well into implementing that. We did that with the Toronto streetcar project, working with the provinces of Ontario and the City of Toronto. Those TTC streetcars are the majority being manufactured in Ontario and Quebec. And that's a shift from historical. It's been hit or miss on that over time. We're making sure now we're very focused on keeping that investment in Canada, keeping Canadian workers producing with Canadian materials on these big projects.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else? Okay, that concludes the media avail for this event. At this time, we will get the podium pulled aside. We will get photographs with the speaking party, and then we will run through other proponents to make sure they get their picture before we disassemble for the day. Thank you so much.